Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. My name is Emmanuel Makua. I am the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, and this is.
I'm Rage. I am the lead organizer on the ground for AMWO St. Louis.
And welcome to welcome to the Sunday rally. We hold these weekly, and in our continuing victory over colonialism, which is where whole people is dominated by a foreign alien state power. Today's Sunday rally theme is vote self-determination. We're not going back. We're currently in the midst of an intensive. We are self-critical for the delay. We're resolving technical contradictions. But I do want to say that Akwaaba means welcome. Welcome to the beautiful Akwaaba Hall that Black has built.
Yes.
Led by the African People's Socialist Party, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement is a mass organization founded in 1991 and is the leading organization in the struggle for bread, peace, and Black power in the 21st century.
Uhuru.
And this year we acknowledge the 41st year since our founding. To join InPDUM today, you can go to InPDUM, that is InPDUM.org/today. Once again, that is InPDUM.org/today. And select the membership level. Our community rallies are held every Sunday at from 3 to 5. And you can also view them on the Burning Spear News, the Burning Spear TV YouTube channel, and our Facebook. And we encourage the online viewers to like, share, and subscribe to the Burning Spear TV YouTube channel. Before we continue, we ask that you please stand and join us as we sing the African Nation fight song, Uhuru.
Trace Lumumba's life won't be in vain. We are winning. Keep up the work in Marcus Garvey's name. We are winning. Independent and free is what we will be. We are winning. Africa will bask in our victory. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom to organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning.
Fight back! Fight back! Back up! Back up! Uhuru comrades, that's right on. I always appreciate the African Nation fight song because it gets our spirit up. And this should be sung everywhere. That's right on. So next we have our political education. This political education is, before we move to the political education, I want to recognize some very important people, special people here with us today. We have Comrade Northern Regional Representative Comrade Nkuleku in the house. Comrade of the NCC. And then we have Comrade Bakri, who is the International Outreach Coordinator of InPDUM. And we also have our chairman, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And we also do want to give an Uhuru salute to Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela, that is, that oversees all the economic development work of the Uhuru movement. Uhuru.
African women
Must lead. Right on. Okay, next we are going to our political education. This political education will be of the 19-point National Black Political Agenda for Self-Determination. As some of you may know, we are a week away from the 10th annual Blacks Back Coalition Electoral Campaign School that we've held annually, where we train everyday African folk coming out of our communities how to run for office, but not only how to run for office, but how to run for office, with a Black agenda. So leading this political education is Comrade Nkuleku, who is the Northern Regional Representative of the African People's Social Party, and he is also the outreach coordinator of the Blacks Back Coalition. Please let's welcome Comrade Nkuleku. Fist up! Fist up! Fist up! Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, President Maku. Thank you, Comrade Rage. Uhuru. Salute to my leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela of the National Central Committee of the African People's Socialist Party. And salute to everyone in attendance here in this room and online. We know and understand that the U.S. government is not capable of solving the problems of the African community. That's right. In fact, the U.S. government is responsible for virtually every problem in our community. We cannot depend on their parties, political parties, to solve our problems. So we must create our own solutions to the problems in our community. And that's what the National Black Agenda for Self-Determination, the National Black Political Agenda for Self-Determination stands for. It's created by the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. So it's very important that we bring this national Black political agenda to the Black community because we understand that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are vehicles of colonialism. They are vehicles of exploitation and oppression. They are not vehicles of African liberation. So we have to promote the African People's Socialist Party because the African People's Socialist Party is a vehicle for African liberation. That's why the African People's Socialist Party, under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, has created the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. Because even though we got Black leadership, even though we have Black people in positions of leadership in the U.S. government, that has not resulted in a benefit of the Black community. In fact, it has resulted in an increasing war on the African community. Even with Barack Obama as president of the U.S. government, the attacks on Africa has increased. In fact, when Barack Obama was president, the attack on the Black community right here in St. Louis, right here in America, has increased. So we realize that the U.S. government doesn't have any solutions for us, and we must come up with our own solutions. And that's what's outlined in the 19-point platform of the Black is Back Coalition. The solutions to the African world, the solutions to the African nation, right here within the borders of this prison that they call America. So I'm going to go over some of these points with y'all so we could be clear on what is the core, what we represent inside the Black is Back Coalition, what we represent in the anti-colonial movement. So point one speaks about our woman, the Black woman. Within this national Black political agenda for self-determination, the entire Black or African nation declares our commitment to facilitate the elevation of African women to full equal partnership in our struggle to create a new world of freedom and socialist democracy for a united Black community in a world where we eliminate the systems of workers and bosses. That's point one of our national Black agenda. Also, point two speaks about the Black family. We demand an immediate halt to the attacks on the Black family, a genocidal campaign rooted in the Atlantic slave trade and embedded in U.S. public and private policy. African people right here in the borders of the U.S., we are under attack every day. Every aspect of our lives is controlled by people who don't represent our interests, who want to continue to keep us exploited and oppressed. So we want to liberate the Black family as well. That has to be our primary objective. In addition to that, we're making a call for community control of the police because we know that the police represent an occupying army in the African community. Instead of using our tax dollars to hire more police and to give these police overtime, we can use that same money to build meaningful economic development in the Black community. So we're promoting an end to the public policy of police containment over economic development, and we're demanding community control of the police. In addition to that, what's the call? Freedom of all. So we run the freedom of all political prisoners because we understand that everybody in jail right now is a political prisoner or a prisoner of war. And we understand that all of our leaders that have stood up in defense of our community have been targeted to be murdered and or imprisoned. And right now we have countless of our leaders who are being tortured inside these concentration camps and being murdered inside these concentration camps. So we demanding, what's the call? Freedom all. We want to roll back on the mass. We want to roll back an end to the mass incarceration of the Black community. We know that slavery was never ended. We know that if you could be, according to the 13th Amendment, if you've been convicted of a crime, then you could be a slave. You dig what I'm saying? That's a misdemeanor, a felony. If you could be convicted of a crime, then you could be back on a plantation like Angola and Louisiana. Nothing but a modern day plantation, like the prisons here in St. Louis. Nothing but modern day plantations used to extract the wealth, human wealth and material wealth for the Black community right here in this prison system. So we demand an immediate rollback and end to the mass incarceration of African people because they continue to lock up our nation, lock up our leaders, and we ain't going for it no longer. We're also making a call for reparations. Reparations ain't new, but they're for sure overdue. You dig what I'm saying? We demand reparations consistent with the international norms regarding the redress for crimes against humanity. This includes enslavement, colonialism, and apartheid from which we suffer up to today. So we demand a call for reparations. Also, we're making a call for self-defense. The African community has a right to resist oppression and exploitation. We have a right to resist police occupation. We have a right to resist the poor taxes that they put on our community every day. So we organize in self-defense for the African community wherever we are located. In addition to that, we want to nationalize the banks and end forever the rule of capitalism, of capital, which has been essential to the enslavement, extermination, colonization, and the denial of self-determination to peoples worldwide. The process must begin with the creation of a national development bank as the primary engine of commerce and development, and as the Black directed public bank to finance the developmental paths chosen by Black communities, similar to what the Uhuru movement is doing here in St. Louis with the Black Power Blueprint. We want full employment and a national minimum income. As of right now, none of these jobs give us a living wage. You know what I'm saying? In fact, the money that we get from selling our labor to these companies, we got to turn around and give it right back to our oppressors because they control everything that we need to survive. And that's not self-determination. That's not freedom. So we want the right to be able to employ ourselves and to give our people a minimum income that where they can sustain themselves and their families. We want a right to housing. Ever since we were taken from Africa, stolen from Africa, we've had a housing problem. Ever since we've been, quote unquote, emancipated, we've had a housing problem. And here in 2026, we still have a housing problem. All across this country, African people are being attacked, and from our ability to have decent and affordable housing is under attack. Even homeowners' deeds are literally being stolen, similar to how the original deed theft, the Stars and Stripes on the American flag, has stolen this land. Now you could work all your life and be fortunate enough to buy a house, and now you in your old age, now you're subject to deed theft. In fact, now they're privatizing public housing, you know what I'm saying, and making it hard not only from homeowners but also for tenants. So we recognize this is an attempt to keep African people powerless and to have us living in a state of a nomadic state where we can properly organize in our community and have deep roots in our community so that we can have self-determination and control of our community. We want to halt gentrification, and that's what we're making a call for, to halt the gentrification through the empowerment, stabilization, and restoration of traditional Black neighborhoods. Black people have the right to develop, plan, and preserve our own communities. No project shall be considered development that does not serve the interests of the impacted populations, nor should any people's displacing or otherwise. We have a right to hold this gentrification, and that's what the Uhuru movement is doing with the Reparations Investment Corporation. Reparations Investment Company. Uhuru. Again, we want the Black businesses must be nurtured. You know what I'm saying? We must by public development banks, protected and from strangulation by corporate chains and monopolies. Black community planning agencies must protect and give preferential access to local entrepreneurs and cooperatives willing to operate in harmony with the community's developmental plans. We want Black businesses and we must nurture them. We must build them as the Uhuru movement is doing. We want a right to free education through postgraduate level. We have a right to educate our people about the true history and the true nature of the relationship of our people to the U.S. government. The U.S. government and all of its institutions have always had a hostile relationship to our community. And when we talk about the miseducation of the Negro, most of our people graduate from these schools more uneducated than people that didn't go to school. So we understand that we need free education through postgraduate level. In addition to that, we want free, universal, quality healthcare for all. As of right now, in every city in America, Black women are dying giving birth at a higher rate than any other ethnic group. That's warfare. That's an attack on the future of our community. Black children are dying before they even get to live, during birth, during pregnancy. Black babies are dying, Black women are dying. So we want free and universal health care to our people so that we can secure that our women can give birth and live through it. Our children can live through the birth of our people. So we want voting rights. We believe the right to vote effectively expresses a preference in political candidates, parties, and social policies. And we want to control who the candidates are. We want to put revolution on the ballot. We want to put self-determination on the ballot. So we're going to we fought and won our right to vote, and we're going to use that democratic space to fight for the self-determination of African people. This is a part of our national political Black agenda. Also, we want the U.S. out of Africa, Asia, and Latin America. We know that the U.S. presence in these places only represents colonialism. It only represents the continued exploitation of African people, Asian people, and Latin American people, continued exploitation of our resources that we don't benefit from. So we want the U.S. government to get out of all of these places where our people are from. The West must pay its debt to Africa and all of its descendants. That's something that we're making a call. We're making a call to free Palestine and down with this Israeli apartheid. Because we understand that similar to America, Israel is a settler colony. Just like America, is a settler colony that exists at the expense of the poor and oppressed people, that exists at the expense of Africa and African people. We're making a call for climate change and the toxic pollutions created by capitalism must end. You know what I'm saying? And talk about the air we breathe is not even healthy because of all of these corporations that is using our natural resources to turn them into commodities to sell us. And now we can't even get, healthy breathing, healthy air because of it. So these are the points of the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. And we want to win everybody. We got to bring this agenda because the Democratic Party is not talking about any of this. The Republican Party is not talking about any of this. It doesn't matter if it's a Black Democrat. It doesn't matter if it's a Black Republican. It doesn't matter if it's a Black man Republican, Black man Democrat. They're not speaking about the national political agenda that's going to give the Black community self-determination. So we, under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, have created the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations so that we can bring our political agenda to the masses and let our people know what's the cause in terms of us solving our own problems and building our own institutions for a united world, for a new world, free of capitalism. Uhuru. So yeah, I just want to open it up for discussion, if anything something stood out to you during what I read or what we spoke about, or if you have any questions, let's open up the floor. Because how many presidents have we seen and none of the issues of our community change? No presidents. How many Black mayors have we seen? How many Black cops have we seen? And the conditions of our community only worsen. So we have to understand that it's the system. It's not, the system is designed to do exactly what it's doing. It don't matter who holds the office. It don't matter who's in the seat, in the driving seat. The whole vehicle is designed to keep African people in Africa exploited and oppressed. So we created our own vehicle, and that is the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. So let's open the floor for discussion. Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrade.
Uhuru.
Thank you for that information. Now, can you tell us how can people listening and in the room get involved into making these things happen? Because we don't want to be just lip service, we want action. Thank you so much.
All right. Indeed, thank you for that, comrade. Well, we must be organized. The U.S. government is organized in every way that it attacks our community. So the first call is to join the organization. Join the Uhuru movement. Join any of our mass organizations, whether it's ANWO, the African National Women's Organization, or the International People's, the ANWO is led by President Yejide. Join the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement, led by our President Emmanuel Macron. Join the African People's Solidarity Committee, led by our Chairwoman Penny Hess. Join the African People's Socialist Party, led by our Chairman and leader of the Worldwide African Liberation Movement, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. So that's one way. And come to our electoral school campaign this next weekend. If you're saying June 6th and 7th, where we're going to be talking about how we're putting Black power on the ballot, how we're putting self-determination on the ballot. Join the movement and help build the Black Power blueprint, something that we see right here in St. Louis, all up and down the street that we're on right now. We see institutions being built that is controlled by the African working class. That's how we get involved. That's how we can solve our own problems. We're actually doing the work. We're putting the theory to the practice. Uhuru. Any other questions, comments?
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Before I was on my way back to the Uhuru house here at 4101 West Florissant, 63115. I went and stopped at O'Fallon Park. I sat on a bench and I had a soda with me. I was drinking it, and I looked down. I saw a worm, and the environment was very dry. And the worm, its skin looked like it was dry, looked like it was it didn't have any water in it. But I thought to myself, what will it take to get this worm into an environment that it's used to, which is wet? So I thought to myself, maybe look for a can or a bottle. And this question is related to in climate change and pollution. So I did find a bottle, but it was on the ground. And so I took that bottle and I dipped it in the pond where I was sitting there, right near the bench. And I went back and I poured some water on the worm and its surroundings. And I noticed that the worm, part of its body was moving, part of it wasn't. I thought to myself, maybe that bottle has some rain and some liquor inside of it. Maybe I got the worm drunk. But I thought to myself, I was thinking, what must we do, and especially in African neighborhoods, what must we do to keep our climates clean from pollution? Because our children, they do play in these environments, and occasionally I see broken glass or sidewalks and areas that Africans live in. And I noticed that children like to jump rope, play soccer, play baseball, basketball on these environments. So what will it take for the African to reverse and change climate change as well as pollution?
Thank you for your question, comrade. Well, I'll say the first thing is we gotta reclaim our community. We gotta reclaim our community. We gotta make our community liberated territory. That these corporations that are there, that are taking advantage of the depths of our resources, are stealing our resources, and doing all these things that create pollution, that they can no longer occupy that space anymore. Once we get organized, once we build the Black Power blueprint, that's the solution. I'm saying we can't allow, we gotta hold these corporations and these elected officials accountable. I'm saying, so we got to go to these meetings and show the people that, real representation, what real representation looks like, something that we're not getting from our local elected officials, those that allow these companies to come into our community and pollute our people. So we have to get organized, we have to join the Uhuru movement, we have to participate in the building of the Black Power blueprint, so that these corporations that are in our community, that are responsible for the pollution in our communities, can no longer exist. They only exist because we're now organized to the capacity we need to be. But I guess that's not, we can't say that for what's happening here in St. Louis, because right now the party in the Black and Black Coalition is putting down the solutions for our people. We're building the Black Power blueprint so that any type of pollution will not exist in our community. Thank you, comrade. Uhuru.
So, right, St. Louis has a city jail where nearly 30 people have died. So can you talk a little bit more about what it would mean to have Black community control of the police and how that would impact the mortality rate of our people in the jail system here in St. Louis?
And thank you for that, comrade, Rage. That's not only happening in St. Louis. These African people are being murdered in all of these concentration camps that they call prisons. And we got to understand, first and foremost, who's the real criminal. And we got to hold them accountable. And we got to explain, we got to study the conditions that lead to our people ending up in jail. And we understand that, all of the resources of our community leave our community and make another group of people wealthier at the expense of us. So what we must do is, again, build the Black Power blueprint. But we must solve our own problems. We must build employment for our own people, so we don't have to depend on these corporations. We don't have to sell our labor to these corporations that have their origin in the enslavement of African people. We must send political education to our comrades that are locked up. We must, if you know somebody that's in prison right now, subscribe them, get them a subscription to the Burning Spear newspaper, because we must organize wherever we are, especially inside these concentration camps. We must be organizing, but our brothers and sisters that's currently locked up must understand their responsibility to organize even in those conditions. We got to have committees and build a Black Power blueprint, even behind the enemy lines. Because we dying out here just like we're all of our struggle is connected. America is a nation is a prison of nations. You dig what I'm saying? And what's going on inside these concentration camps is an extension of the war on African people. So we must be organized to, again, build up our own institutions so that we don't have to depend on this illegitimate economy that they impose on us. We don't have to depend on the selling our labor to these companies that exploit us. And because again, they'll let you leave the jail to go work at Wendy's, but they won't give you parole. You know what I'm saying? So again, these jails are nothing but facilitating the continual exploitation and oppression of African people so that we don't have the capacity to build a Black Power blueprint. So the call is to free them all. You know what I'm saying? We got to get organized to do that. And that's what the Black Power blueprint is for. Thank you for that question, Comrade Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yeah, I love the 19 points. I can definitely get down with that. This is this is stuff that all the politicians and the preachers need to get behind. Speaking of like Black community control, the police and things like that. One of the things I really appreciate, during this tentative as we're doing outreach, especially to the brothers from the block and stuff like that, is they they had what does safety look like for our communities? What's that look like? What does security look like? Definitely it's much more involved there than just there's it's almost like a domino effect, if the people don't got nothing to eat, if they don't got a roof over their heads, they ain't got some ways to, make resources and things like that. The chairman says it all the time, if a house is on fire, and the government shuts out, 3, 4, 5 of the exits, people are gonna jump out the window, because that's the way they are gonna survive and things like that. But folk in the community, have really been appreciative of the work that we've been doing. And, including the brothers. And even, when we're doing outreach, one of the brothers has said, in recognition, of work that we do, in our advanced character and things like that, that we're able, to continue to do, our work and things like that freely. And that should be the case. The just representatives of the people who continue to, commit their lives and all the work that they do, to uplift our communities and things like that, should not, ever be under attack or assault and things like that, especially by this government, because the government has a history of attacking and assassinating our leaders and those who want to do nothing but right for our people. Both Africans and those who aren't African, but who would express the most deepest and firmest kind of solidarity with our people to be free. And so that's really important. Being able to defend the gains, and not only defend it, but advance the gains of of the revolution is very important. So we Black community control the police. Anyone who carries any kind of any kind of arms and things like that, the Black community should be able to say what their day-to-day priorities look like, what the task looks like, what their goals and things like that looks like, and who really is the threat to the Black community, and what history is showing, especially here in St. Louis, that it's the very government itself, and so Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you, President. I know, when the people see who represents their interests, they're going to defend it.
Yeah.
When the people see who represents them and build it in their interest, they're going to take the initiative to defend their leaders. And that's how, again, that's a part of Black community control of the police. But thank you. Is there anything else? If there's no other further discussion,
Oh,
Uhuru.
right on. Uhuru. Welcome.
All right, King.
Got a question when it comes to other African nations, like Burkina Faso. You know, is it are we educated as far as they know the movement is real and to be like corresponding with other countries? I mean, is it
Right on, definitely. This is one fight. You know what I'm saying? And we do have comrades on the continent of Africa that represent the African front of the worldwide African liberation movement. Right now, we're on the St. Louis front of the worldwide African liberation movement. We do have comrades in West Africa that are actively involved to organize other Africans to participate in the struggle to overthrow the colonial domination of our lives. That's right on.
another question with that? Okay, well, because I have been when it comes to political, Burkina Faso and the guy that's moving.
Yes, sir. Abraham Traore.
I like his move. You know what I mean?
That's our movement.
I love it. But another note I had, when it comes to pollution, for air pollution.
Yes, sir.
There's certain things that we uncontrol and that we're not even, most people can't grasp that it's happening most of the time. You know what I mean? We talking about contrails and chemtrails, however, when you see and recognize patterns, it's quite obvious that something is happening. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So even like this weather this weekend, it was something that I paid attention a few days ago, from all the clouds that we got out here now today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got another guy, it's called Missouri Clean Skies. I'm thinking that somehow that we need to find some way to connect to make this movement a little more powerful, because I travel state to state a lot of times and I see it happening across the state lines. And
Yes, sir.
believe it or not, most of the people that have run across are just like, they're not even focused on this guy. You know what I mean?
But-
So just to be educated about it first and that it is real.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean?
But that's our goal. You know, we're gonna solve all of our problems through organization. As they saying, by organization, we gotta have, first and foremost, we gotta study the problems from our own perspective, from a historical perspective, and recognize it as a part of the attack on our community, because they don't want us to be strong and fight back. You know what I'm saying? They polluting our food. You know what I'm saying? With all types of hormones and drugs to make us less capable of being healthy enough to fight back. You know what I'm saying? To make us less capable of fighting back and winning. They're shoving every strategy, and pollution is definitely one of the ways where they, make us weaker so that we're less capable of defending our interests.
Say something?
For sure.
Part of the way that we are addressing that locally is by reclaiming territory. We started the garden over here so we can give out produce to the community. We started the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market, which we are bringing Black businesses together, farmers together, so that we may not have the planes to stop the chemtrails in the sky, but there are things that we can do locally together to prevent that. And that's what the Black Power Blueprint is all about. Eventually, this whole corridor right here is gonna be liberated territory for us, by us, to serve us, and we won't have to go out of our
Right.
community to get the things that we need. And that is part of that. That's part of addressing the pollution and all of that, because once we have control over the land and the territory where we live, we can begin to build institutions and create systems to address those things.
For real.
To leave on one note, when it comes to the movement, what about as far as blackouts? Or anything
Blackouts?
to where for
Electricity.
our community, to where something to where we can fall back on?
Mhm.
When it
Again,
comes to the corporations, like
that's a very important question. And no need to apologize, because we gotta be ready for it all. Cause that's what they do. They'll shut the power grid down to make sure that we don't, you see what they're doing in Cuba, making sure that Cuba don't get any oil, so that they could be, but the Cuban people, African people in Cuba are relentless. You find solutions to every problem that the imperialists throw at us. With organization, we can solve it. You know what I'm saying? So if we organizing in the dark, you know what I'm saying, we gonna get free. You know what I'm saying? Like the lights, the electricity may be out, but when our sun is up, we're gonna be organizing. We gonna
Need every electrician, every plumber,
right.
every carpenter.
That's right.
We need everybody.
Because our goal is to build our own nation.
To solve that.
Right on. Now, and we appreciate you, comrade, and all of those questions you asked, because we gotta study these things and we gotta be prepared. We gotta stay ready so we don't gotta get ready. You know what I'm saying? So those are the type of questions that we need to ask ourselves. Those are the type of, we need to find solutions to deal with those type of problems. And the only way we could do that is through the Black Power Blueprint. It is by brothers like you stepping up. And like the sister said, all of our skilled brothers and sisters coming together and using our skills and our talent to build up our own nation. You know what I'm saying? We putting ourselves in a position to govern And that's, so when we do that, we're gonna solve every problem that we're confronted with, from pollution to police terrorism to, throwing out the colonialists like they did in the Sahel region. And we throwing out the colonizers right here in St. Louis. You dig what I'm saying? And we're gonna organize and solve our problems and all of their manifestations. Yeah. Uhuru.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
I think these are really like important issues and questions that's being raised, and I really appreciate the kind of responses that people are given to these extremely important questions. And the reason I think that we have the ability to give relatively effective responses to it is because concretely we're working on the same things that you're talking about. It's not like it's just an abstract issue for us, that concretely we're working to solve the problem that has come as a consequence of African people here and around the world being colonized, being under foreign and alien domination. You raised the issue of the Sahel. Obviously, Comrade Traore is like an outstanding figure in the Sahel, been doing incredibly significant work there, having kicked the French out and trying to make sure that no other foreign power can dominate there, assuming control of feeding and clothing and housing ourselves. That's part of the whole struggle against colonialism. That's why you heard the reference to this West Florissant corridor that we're talking about, the development there. They're doing the same thing. It's the same project because it's the same colonialism attacking all of us. But just to get back to the Sahel, and to talk about being able, what do we do with when the blackouts come? Well, the blackouts are already here. All you got to do, and you can do this yourself, you can Google the continent of Africa at night and see how few lights you will see there. Because the thieves, the ones who dominate Africa and the world, build themselves at our expense. You talk about the Sahel. Look at Niger. Niger produces so much uranium. France, which is a bandit entity that is a third-rate, at best, third-rate power. And only the reason it can even claim a third rate is because of what it steals now and has stolen historically from Africa, whether it's Africans on the continent of Africa, whether it's Africans in Haiti and what have you. But right now, you have a situation where France has lighted streets. In fact, you can go to France 4 o'clock in the morning and attend one of these outdoor cafes, sidewalk cafes, and there are lights there. But you can't find lights in Niger, where the uranium comes from that lights up France. Something like 60% or more of French electricity comes from Niger, this place in the Sahel. And part of the reason you see this uprising in the Sahel is because people are tired of being lived on by parasites. And that's what we have, a relationship where African people here and around the world have parasites sucking our resources, and not just us as individuals, but the future of our people. Think about this, with no electric lights. In Sierra Leone, for example, where you get some of the most outstanding diamonds in the world, comes from Sierra Leone, West Africa. But most of the Africans in Sierra Leone, West Africa, have never seen a finished diamond. They're the ones who bring the diamonds out. They're the ones, you go to your mall here and see diamonds, chances are, if they're any value to them, they come from Sierra Leone. And but they haven't even seen, most of them have never seen a finished diamond. This is how blood resources being sucked from Black people. And most of them have never seen you and recognize them. And you are part of what has been stolen from Sierra Leone, stolen from the Sahel, stolen from the rest of Africa. That's the kind of struggle that we're engaged in now. And we are relentless. And we intend to govern, to be a self-governing people again. That's our responsibility. And there is no future. There's no hope of solving any of the problems that's being addressed now without having the power to do that. And having the power to do that means that we have to take the colonizers out of our lives and take control of our lives ourselves. Be able to feed, clothe, and house ourselves. That's the objective. Because if you're not talking about power, it's just a useless kind of discussion. So I just wanted to contribute, to that. Uhuru.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Up next, we're gonna invite our comrade Makeda to give us some culture. Uhuru.
King, I'm gonna look at the culture for the Black School, because I want Makeda to be able to present.
This up. This up. This up. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
So this is a piece that I had actually written to present a while back in front of a group of children who were to come out to be a part of a field day on a farm. And since we have children here, I was thinking that it would have been so much more valuable to me when I was a kid to hear some of the things that I'm about to say now. It's called Return to the Land. Everyone, come, gather close. Closer still. Gently, march in place and feel the ground beneath your feet. Announce yourself. Even now, the ground remembers you. Young ones, you who stand in the sacred in-between, not quite children, not yet fully grown, you will not wait to become powerful. You already are. Listen. Before there were cities, before there were borders, before there were names placed upon us by others, there was land. And there were your ancestors, walking it, tending it, listening to it, learning its language like a mother's voice, and they were never separate from it. They knew something the world is only now trying to remember, that to care for the land is to care for each other. That to grow food is to grow life. That to understand the soil is to understand the spirit. You come from people who did not simply farm. No, they related. They communed. They honored. Every seed was a promise. Every harvest, a prayer answered. Every meal, a ceremony of gratitude. And no one ate alone. This is Ubuntu. I am because we are. Say it softly in word and spirit. I am because we are. Ubuntu is not just a word, it is a way of seeing, a way of being. Your strength matters because it is needed. Your existence matters because without you, something essential would be missing from the whole. Young ones, those sitting out in the audience right now, you are not accidental. You are not excess. You are not disposable. You are not too much, and you are not enough. You are necessary. The ancestors understood this. And they raised their children, your bloodline, to understand it too. They taught them to listen with their ears, yes, but also with their eyes, to see when the leaves began to speak of thirst, to notice when the soil grew tired and needed rest. They taught them to listen with their hands, hands that pressed seeds into the earth with reverence, not haste, hands that knew the difference between pulling a weed and disturbing a root that needed time. They taught them to listen with their hearts, Hearts that beat in rhythm with rainfall, with sunrise, with turning of seasons. Your eyes, your ears, your hands, your heart. These are not ordinary tools. They're the same instruments your ancestors used to love the land into abundance. And the land remembers that love. Do you hear me? The land remembers you. Even if you have been far from it, even if no one has shown you how to return, even if the world has tried to convince you that your value lies somewhere else, the soil still calls your name because you are part of a lineage that knew how to feed entire villages without poisoning the ground. You come from those who understood that healing was not bought, it was grown. Leaves for fever, roots for strength, fruits for nourishment, grains for sustenance. Everything needed given freely by the earth when treated with respect. And that is your inheritance. Not struggle alone, not survival alone, but the knowledge of provision, deep, rooted, living knowledge. You are the bridge between what was and what must be again. And yes, the world may not always see your worth. It may try to measure you by things that do not matter. It may distract you, disconnect you, pull you away from your center. But hear this clearly. You are not here just to consume. You are here to cultivate, to restore balance, to bring wisdom back into motion, to remember what your ancestors never forgot. And you do not need permission to begin. Start with your attention, your curiosity. Start with your willingness to touch the earth and ask it, what can I learn from you? Because it will answer. It will teach you patience. It will teach you timing. It will teach you responsibility. It will teach you care. And in teaching you these things, it will teach you yourself. Young ones, there is nothing small about what you carry. You are walking seeds, living medicine, future ancestors in training, and the work before you is not a burden, it is an honor. To grow, to tend, to nourish, to heal, to remember Ubuntu is not as history, but as practice. Because when you plant with intention, when you share without fear, when you recognize yourself in another, you are living Ubuntu. You are restoring the circle. So stand tall now. Feel your feet rooted. Feel your breath steady. Know this in your bones. The land is waiting for you. Not as strangers, but as kin. And as you return to it, as you learn it, tend it, and love it, it will return to you everything that was ever yours. Food, wisdom, balance, healing, freedom. Remember this above all, the land is both pharmacy and grocery. And you, yes, you, and everything that comes from the land is cured. Uhuru.
Peace, LA to Oro. That's right on. Thank you so much, Comrade Makeda. Yeah, and that's right on. We have a responsibility to free ourselves. InPDUM supports the 19-point platform for self-determination. And we say put revolution on the ballot. Put reparations on the ballot. Put the protection of the Black family, the Black community control, the police, free all political prisoners, the ending of mass incarceration of our people. and the right to housing, halting gentrification, and so much more. We support, and InPDUM recognizes that self-determination is the highest expression of genuine democracy for all colonized people. And this is, even stated in the first point of the Revolutionary National Democratic Program of InPDUM, which we use to carry out, throughout, our communities and things like that. That we demand all rights consistent with being a free people, rights which include self-determination and self-government as the highest expression of genuine democracy. We demand independence in our lifetime. And with that being said, today's theme is vote self-determination. We're not going back. I would like to bring up our our keynote speaker, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, leader and founder of the Uhuru movement, and a lifelong revolutionary, this time to his one. Let's give it up for our chairman. Oh, fist up! Fist up! Fist up! Fist up! Uhuru.
Thank you, Comrade President Manuel. And I want to express appreciation to everybody who is here and you incredible forces who have presented before me. I'd like to ask a question before starting. As you know, next weekend, we'll be having a Black is Back Coalition Electoral Campaign School. This will be the 10th annual one that we've done. This school is one of the reasons that the government felt it necessary to attack us because we've taken the mystery out of the electoral process and put it in the hands of people who normally don't even consider running for office or and sometimes feel even incompetent about being able to make judgments about those who are running for office. But this is really important, and we're looking for a big turnout on this 10th annual school. And I'd like to see now, by a show of hands, who of you intend to be at the electoral campaign school here in St. Louis, in this building on June 6th and 7th. Merci. Okay. You're not going to be here, James? I'll see you. And may I see, of those of you who have raised your hand, have you registered? Can I see the hands of those who have not registered? Who have not? This is a call. Please, please, please register. Register now so that we can go ahead and complete plans. Make whatever is necessary in terms of organization and resources to facilitate that. This is the call to this upcoming school. It is a call that is being tweaked, so it's not exactly how it will look even by the time of the school. It's a call that also recognizes how many people are confused and upset about the April 29, 2026 assault on the Voting Rights Act by the US Supreme Court. So that's something that many people are concerned with, and I'm hoping that this call addresses some of the fears that people may have surrounding that, and hopefully it will help us to understand what we have to do. So, call to the Black is Back Coalition's 10th Annual Electoral Campaign School, June 6, 7, 2026. On Wednesday, April 29, 2026, the US Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that ostensibly allowed us to advance our freedom struggle through voting within the US colonial electoral system. Before this US Supreme Court ruling, previous attacks on our freedom struggle were characterized by generalized terror against our people. This included mass celebratory murder with thousands of white participants who often competed with each other for souvenir body parts, of burned, hanged, and shot to death corpses of Black people. How you doing, sister? It's so good to see you.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yeah. The recently gutted 1965 Voting Rights Act did not come about because of some socially transformative epiphany on the part of our colonial oppressors. It was an act that was designed to give enhanced politically expedient legitimacy to the Civil Rights Bill that was passed in 1964, despite serious opposition by many, including former Democratic Party U.S. President Joseph Robinette Biden. We uphold the role of our people's heroic struggle that were key to winning the passage of these acts. Their enactment allowed the U.S. to claim that our people were protected by the so-called Bill of Rights that was actually ratified by the U.S. Congress when we were considered property. We had no more rights than horses, cows, shoes, shares, or any other property owned by the white colonizers. In 1857, the case of Dred and Harriet Scott, 65 years after ratification of the Bill of Rights, the U.S. Supreme Court confirmed that we had no rights, that a white man had to respect. This was the Supreme Court ruling. However, the colonizers' denial of rights has never stopped our struggle against colonialism. Colonialism, by definition, means denial of any rights not conferred on the colonized by the colonizer. Indeed, it has always been colonialism itself that defined and made our freedom struggle necessary. It was our unrelenting struggle at the time that made the 1965 Voting Rights Act necessary for our colonizers. And its fear of our struggle today is what is responsible for the negation of the Voting Rights Act in 2026. In 1964, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, launched the Mississippi Summer Project as a voter registration campaign to advance our struggle, especially in the state of Mississippi. This campaign resulted in the brutal, highly publicized murder of 3 young civil rights workers at the SNCC-led 1964 Summer Project, forcing to the surface the ubiquity of the reality of colonial violence against African people. These notorious violent murders undermined U.S. attempts to market itself as the beacon of democracy in a world that was globally engaged in intense struggle to define the contours of the emergent anti-colonial social system. On February 4th, 1965, 17 days before his assassination, and less than a month prior to Bloody Sunday and the infamous colonial assault on peaceful voting rights protesters on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama, Minister Malcolm X accepted an invitation by SNCC to come to Selma, Alabama. When Malcolm X visited Selma, Dr. King was in jail, so he could not meet with Dr. King and met with his wife, Coretta Scott King, and conveyed to her his intention to work with King and bring unity to the struggle against colonialism. His visit to Selma, again, this was 17 days before he was assassinated. Malcolm was in Selma. His visit to Selma and the unity offered by Minister Malcolm X confirmed that we are engaged in one liberation struggle against colonialism. It helped to show
that for our struggle against colonialism, the Voting Rights Act, as important as it was, has always been about more than just voting. It was about Black liberation and the possible use of the vote as an instrument to advance our freedom struggle against U.S. domestic colonialism. An objective of the 1965 assassination of Minister Malcolm X in the same year as the passage of the Voting Rights Act, as well as the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. just 3 years later, was to undermine the possibility of the politics of anti-colonial liberation entering the domain of electoral politics in the United States. The murders of our leaders by the US government aimed to restrict our anti-colonial freedom struggle to the counter-revolutionary restraints of the Democratic Party of the colonial ruling class. Our oppressors were intent on preventing Malcolm X's political program of Black nationalism. And you can check out Malcolm's extraordinary presentation that he made, the ballot of the bullet, where he defined Black nationalism as an alternative. It laid out a program. And this is around the same time again that he's now entering into the electoral work and uniting with Dr. Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. Our oppressors were intent on preventing Malcolm X's political program of Black nationalism and King's Poor People's Campaign, reflecting our people's politic of self-determination, from ever acquiring the presumed legitimacy of the colonial electoral process. This chilling colonial state violence thereby relegated the anti-colonial politics to a state of illegitimacy and, by inference, illegality. But our struggle against colonialism was never determined by US colonial legality. Not then, not now. One of the most significant ideological, political, and organizational expressions of the anti-colonial definition of our struggle leading to the creation of the Voting Rights Act was the 1962 founding of the Revolutionary Action Movement, or RAM, that had an outside, though little recognized, impact on our fight against domestic colonialism and its international implications. The 1965 creation of the original Black Panther Party, the Lowndes County Freedom Organization of Alabama, advanced our electoral struggle beyond the restriction of electoral political participation within the ruling colonial Democratic Party. The growth of our anti-colonial movement was further exemplified by the 1966 Black Power movement initiated by SNCC that was itself influenced by the Vine City Project in Atlanta in 1964, at the time when the Mississippi Summer Project was raging. The 1966 founding of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense in Oakland, California took the symbol of the Lowndes County Freedom Organization and advanced our struggle beyond the confines of the colonial electoral process altogether. The first Black Power direct action event that was a mass demonstration in 1966, let me just say, at the St. Petersburg, Florida City Hall, where demonstrations removed an 8 by 10-foot racialized caricature of Black people from its wall. The St. Petersburg action in 1967 was followed by an armed demonstration 4 months later by the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense in the chambers of the California State Capitol in Sacramento. And then I want to say that in 1968, the Revolutionary Union movement was formed in Detroit. All kinds of activities. They thought they were crushing the movement, but all kinds of activities were occurring even after they killed a king, and even after they killed Malcolm X. And I should mention that on May 4th, 1969, at the liberal Riverside Church, where King spoke, made his most challenging presentation as far as the ruling class was concerned in 1967. On May 4th, 1969, almost a year after the SNCC's leader of international affairs, James Forman, went into Riverside Church, and before a startled and what would be an angry pastor, and the majority of the congregants put forth a Black manifesto demanding reparations to African people at that time of $500 million. And all of these historic actions provided ample evidence that despite the desperate repression of a hostile anti-Black colonial state, we have always fought for our total liberation, happiness, dignity, and the return of all the human and material resources stolen from us. Thus, the name of our coalition, the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. It is a coalition that has successfully taken upon itself the responsibility to reunite and give coherence to our relentless fight for self-determination that we have defined as the highest expression of democracy. How are you going to have democracy if you don't have self-determination? I mean, it's just a ridiculous characterization. Thus, the significance of our 10th annual electoral campaign school is that it takes the mystery out of electoral politics and destroys the monopoly of the electoral process by outright colonialists and their neo-colonial minions in our midst. The Black is Back campaign school pushes back against all efforts to limit our struggle to simple voting rights at the expense of our historical movement for total liberation. It is with urgency that we call you to join with us on June 6th and 7th, James, despite and because of the Supreme Court's latest ruling gutting the 1965 Voting Rights Act based on the self-created colonial illusion that in so doing, our struggle for total liberation of our people would be destroyed. But we are still here. This is why the US government found it necessary to initiate pre-dawn military-style attacks on our freedom movement and coalition chair, Omali Yeshitela, in 2 cities and states, in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis, Missouri. I think it's meaningful that these things are saints. You know, I mean, it's just, these attacks did not result in the wished-for defeat of our movement. Instead, we have grown by leaps and bounds, making it necessary for the unprecedented attack by the colonizers within its own community. Thus, because of the strategic reach of our anti-colonial movement, the US also indicted 2 white people, Penny Hess and Jesse Neville, who along with Chairman Yeshitela became known as the Uhuru 3. When the US colonizers attacked us in the past, they did not find it necessary to defend their position in their own white colonizer communities. The murders of anti-colonialists like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, or Fred Hampton are among the glaring examples of the unhampered impunity of the US colonizers to attack our struggle, our freedom struggle against US domestic colonialism with the apparent support of the general white colonizer population. The fact is that there has been an assortment of anti-colonial organizations representing a gamut of tendencies since the era of the Voting Rights Act. These anti-colonial organizations were often in contention with each other in their separate drives to capture the leadership of the general anti-colonial movement. They have included Black Muslims, Pan-Africanists, New Africanists, African Internationalists, and various causes without clear ideological and theoretical identities except for opposition to U.S. domestic colonialism. Now the Black is Back Coalition has created an organization of nearly 20 organizations, that unites our anti-colonial trajectory on a coherent anti-colonial mission. We have reopened the door to the electoral arena in a manner that takes us forward in the fight against colonialism without surrendering to the Democratic Party or the limitations imposed on political participation restricted to colonial approval. This is a call for you to join the 10th annual Black is Back Electoral Campaign School, to recapture the political space the colonizers attempted to deny us with their assassinations of Minister Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, and the targeted arrests and imprisonment of our militants during the Black liberation movement of the 60s. We have not surrendered. We are relentless. Join us in St. Louis, Missouri for the 10th Annual Electoral Campaign School, June 6th and 7th, and 2026, and register at blackisbackcoalition.org. It's not just Trump. It's the whole damn system. This time, till it's won. Power in our own hands. Uhuru. Uhuru. So where are we now?
Offer membership and resources.
And James.
Uhuru, give it up for chairman. Come on now. Yeah. Talking about taking power in our own hands. We got all kind of Black faces in seats of power, right? But they ain't done nothing for us. So this is an opportunity for regular folk, for us in our community, to learn what it takes to really represent what our interests in those spaces. So I really encourage people to come to the electoral school. It's the slides for membership and resources. The slides. All right, next I want to invite to the stage our comrade, 4 Feet Alkebulan.
Uhuru! It's my Africa.
Yeah, good job, folks.
And it's yours. Okay. And you know what? Wherever we stand on ground or grass, it is our Africa. Because I am a stolen African woman born on stolen indigenous land. And every one of my blood ties, whether I know them or not, are still being persecuted by colonialism. It is time to break free. Freedom for all Africans. How did I learn that? From my chairman. How do I know that's true? Because I live it every day. And our goal to break free today is $150. Why does it have a money amount? Freedom has no money amount, but we've got to get the message outside to unbrainwash our comrades so they can know how to fight. We can teach them how to fight. We can teach them the story of their history, which is our history, which is world history. And how do we know that? Because that's what we got from being a part of the Uhuru movement, from being a part of InPDUM, from being a part of ANWO, from being a part of the African Socialist Party. You know what? Where did we get it from? From the young man that you just heard from. The power is in the people, and the people need leadership. This is what we're here for. We're here to lead. We're not here to get in line and say, where do we go? We getting in line and say, this is where you go. Come to the Uhuru movement. Yes, membership right now. Our goal today is $150. You can, if you got $150, let's take it and move on. But we're taking dollars. We're taking cards, but we're taking everything but, as my comrade told me yesterday, we're taking everything but excuses. That's right. If you want to go to Cash App, go to Cash App, $InPDUM, which is on, you'll see IEC, then that's how you know you at the right one, okay? You can go to InPDUM.org/donate. That is InPDUM.org/DONATE. Now, why am I spelling it? Because there are some people that's listening to us and not looking at us. There are some people that think they know what to put down, and then when they get ready to do their money, we want you to put it in the right place, okay? Because money talk. Words have meaning, and the meaning is Uhuru, which is Swahili for freedom. That's what we want, that's what we'll get, and that's what we want, we will have, okay, in our lifetime, okay? Another way you can support this organization is, one finger, we can have a person that's really running and talking and doing a lot of things, but they are not making any ground because they're trying to do it alone. It takes unity. It takes organization, because you don't have all the ideas. You have a lot, but when you get 3 or 4 more people, you have 3 times the ideas. A whole organization is a way to freedom, y'all. Liberation. Liberation, liberation, liberation. And I was taught by this young man, a lifetime of confusion can only lead to the death of confusion and liberation. The way we move is how we do it, and we do it in unity. And we do it in unity and organization. That's the magic word, organization. All right, let me take a breath. Membership. If you are not a member of this organization in some form, hold your hands up. You're part of InPDUM, comrade. You forgot? Okay. See, we gotta get you back to work. Get you back to work. If you don't remember, you can always go to InPDUM.org/join. That is a $25 membership for 1 year. In that 1 year, you will learn things that you couldn't have known in 12 years. And that's high school. I don't mean just 12 years old. Okay. You can also become a member of InPDUM by going to, by a Musa Bantu level. InPDUM membership is $10. That is for our students and our unemployed. Yeah, can you believe that? Some of us are unemployed. I don't know anybody that can't hustle up $1, okay? You don't have to be working. That just keep you off the tax line. But $10 for a year's membership, which gives you the same privileges as somebody that's a Marcus Garvey member, all right? Your ideas matter. Your energy matter. If you volunteer 1 hour a week, we will take it and show you how to turn it to gold, okay? for our comrades that are behind enemy lines that will be coming out sooner or later. We have to give them the ammunition to become fighters. They are already fighters. We just have to show them how to fight and why to fight, because they're behind bars. But you know what? For $5, they can become members of the InPDUM organization, and they will get a burning spear. And from that burning spear, guess what? They will organize. They will strategize. And when they come out, they will be wonderful backline to help keep the rest of the world in check. All right? We want them out, and we want them to stay out. So this is the education that they will get from just that $5. I know you know somebody you want to make sure stay free. You finna become a member, comrade? I'm messing with him. I know him. Anyway, with that being said, this is how you become a member. This is how you become an action person and not just a lip service. With that being said, comrades, I will come back and let you know we made our goal. Okay? And who am I? 4 feet, Ushairi El Kibulon, and a Gemini, and tomorrow is my jump across moon. Okay? Oh. You know, I was born a revolutionary, but I'm gonna die free. Because we're gonna have a revolution in my lifetime.
Uhuru, we have one question online. It says, this is from Brother Ross from YouTube. It says, the brother has said, what should our response be to the gutting of the Voting Rights Act? What is our call to action?
Come to the school. Listen, we did not get, the Voting Rights Act did not come about as a consequence of voting. Voting did not get the Voting Rights Act. It was struggled by African people who had no rights at all, including the right to vote. This is a call for you to join the organization, not just to lament about the fact that the colonizers who took our freedom in the first place just reaffirmed the fact that they've taken our freedom by gutting this thing called the Voting Rights Act that many of us presume was the only way that we could get freedom. So we say, come right now. You can listen to what Comrade 4 Feet said in terms of how you can join the Uhuru movement. You can become active. You can become a part of this. You can come to the school that we have now. And there are various other kinds of announcements that we're going to make that can give you concrete ways that you can connect with the struggle. Because our struggle is to go beyond simply depending on somebody else to give us rights to vote. Our struggle is to attain power ourselves, become a self-governing people. And to the extent that we carry out the strategic objectives that we've established for ourselves, then we carry out the mission to become self-governing, and then the voting rights become ours because we control it ourselves. So I hope that's helpful, brother, because I don't really, and I also say that there's nothing wrong. We believe that there's nothing wrong if people want to engage in any of the kinds of actions that people are holding around the question of voting rights. Do it. If you want to, join in those actions, but do not see those actions as ends unto themselves. The Voting Rights Act is not our salvation. If it were our salvation, they couldn't have taken it away from us. I want to say beyond that, I think it's really important for the comrade who raised that question to recognize that the reason there was a Civil Rights Bill and a Voting Rights Act is because we're not covered by the damn Constitution that confers citizenship on the people. So this special thing of civil rights and voting rights, et cetera, was a process of pretext that somehow we have some rights, but to make sure that even access to the Voting Rights Act did not put the issues of Black liberation, African freedom on the ballot, they killed those most serious proponents of Black freedom. Malcolm X. We talked about Martin Luther King. We talked about a major assault that was made on the Black Panther Party. And all those folk who were talking, and these were people who actually were talking about and actually in the process of utilizing the voting system to advance our struggle. They don't want these issues on the ballot. We take them to our communities and we're telling you, participate in the school and you'll see the means by which you can utilize voting to the extent as possible to advance the struggle for total liberation, so that makes us capable of getting off our bellies and calling and begging oppressors for the right that they have conferred upon themselves. And this whole issue of voting and Voting Rights Act, you should be conscious of the fact. It was inferred by the brother here who raised the question about the Sahel, etc. We've gone through this at more or less the same time all over the Black world. The 1950s, where we saw the struggles for voting rights happening here. We saw the struggles that's happening all over Africa. In 1960s, when we got the so-called Voting Rights Act, we got the struggles that were supposed to confer independence on us all over Africa. And then what we've seen is that anytime we voted in a way that the colonizers didn't want us to vote, they would invade and overthrow heads of state, governments, Black governments, etc., or they will assassinate like they've done here, like they've done in Africa and various other places around the world. Look at the vote. The people voted and put in power Nicolas Maduro out of Venezuela. He was voted on, he was put in power, but it wasn't what they wanted to have. So you see this happening all the time. They say you have the right to vote the way they want you to vote. Uhuru.
I just had a question. Is there any like movements in the future as far as even show up to and bring some pressure on, like speaking as far as in the city or anything like that? Like a tour.
He's asking this tour.
I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, you got your mic.
Was there any like movements? 'Cause I'm very interested in getting involved in some of these meetings that they have in the city. You know what I mean? Like, so pull up and actually, because I just normally sit on TV, but I just really need to go see it for myself. So if there's any events or you know, where I can be involved in while I'm in town or whatnot, it'd be nice. You know, if you can give me some information on that. You know, or I can do my own research to see. But if y'all guys showing up, I guess the more the better. You know, if we could be able to show up and show out somewhere.
You say while you're in town, you're going to be leaving St. Louis soon?
Yeah, surely.
Shortly.
So I like to do what I can. Yeah.
Will you be here on the 6th and the 7th?
I couldn't tell you that right now.
Oh.
You know, I said shortly it could be after that though.
Okay.
You know, but so just putting it out there, you know what I mean? I like to show up and show out, you know, so if we're gonna be somewhere, I wanna be involved in that move.
I got you. All right. Well, we have your contact information, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
To the other questions.
Another one?
Don.
I see that one. Well, what's the question? Comrade Don Hammond has said, question for Chairman, what is the African International's response to Zelensky's plea to United Nations that the United States monthly production of just 60 to 65 Patriot interceptor missiles is? I don't understand.
I don't understand what you said. What's your question was? What is the African international responses to basically the United Nations that the United States production of just 65 Patriot interceptor missiles is, well, you got it. Yeah.
All right, Uhuru. Yeah, I mean the United States and you know, these colonial states that you know, that benefit off the mass exploitation you know, of African and oppressed people all around the world. You know, it's not gonna give African people the ability, you know, the tools and stuff like that to struggle. But it'll give those who unite with the colonial mode of production, the continuance of the mass exploitation, the forcible dispersal of African people, the genocide that's occurring today on, you know, on African people, on the indigenous people, and peoples around the world. This is the thing that the system funds. And so what's important for us is that we fight for the democratic space to be able to put out our message of liberation and self-determination. We say Uhuru because that is something that is on our minds every single day, every waking hour. Uhuru means freedom, and that's the first thing that you hear when you call our offices. That's the last thing that you hear when when we say our goodbyes. But we build a movement. Bring the masses of African people back into political life. Because colonialism might be, imperialism might be strong from afar, but up close, like the Vietnamese said, brain by the belt. Up close, they're weak. Uhuru. Next up, we have our incentive report. As I've said before, we are currently in the middle of a cadre intensive, and we have reports coming out from Bakri and as well as from Inkuleku. And we'll also open it up to everyone else who has things like that. Uhuru. So the mic's open and y'all two can take the stage if y'all want. Uhuru. Fist up! Fist up! Fist up! Uhuru, this is how we win.
Uhuru, comrade.
Uhuru.
I just want to say it's an honor to be back here on the stage at the Uhuru House. And with that, I want to recognize my leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And also to acknowledge this comrade here from New York who I've gotten to know and been staying in the same place with for the last week and really appreciates him. And of course, I want to acknowledge Deputy Chair Onizane Yeshitela. It's been a part of this journey that I've had here. I came here to St. Louis this time around because I heard the chairman's call. It's a call that he's made many times over many years. This particular call was to come here now to St. Louis. St. Louis is the epicenter of the African Revolution. And this is where anybody who claims to be a real revolutionary needs to be. Anybody who's not a revolutionary needs to be here in St. Louis as well. This is the place to be. Africans here call it the Lou. And I want to invite everybody who ain't in the Lou to come to the Lou. I came here because there's work that needs to be done here. When I got here last week, we got to work. We did work at the African Arts Festival. We did preparation work under one of the dual and contending power institutions the Uhuru movement has on the ground here from the Black Power Blueprint. That's Uhuru Foods and Pies, where we have our own kitchen here on the ground. Now we prepared tea. We prepared everything we needed to have a successful weekend at the African Arts Festival where there was 20,000 plus African people there learning about Uhuru, seeing organization on the ground. And it's important because this movement has been here in the Lou for a minute now, and we want more people involved with that. Again, we did all kinds of work. We put out Black Star Industries. We put out what a political economy looks like. We have a business down the street that says that. And it's not only talking about it, it's being about it. It's not just theory and talking about building an independent African economy, it's doing it. And that's why I came to St. Louis. And that's the kind of work we've been doing. The work at the African Arts Festival has been part and parcel of the work that we've been doing over the last week, where we get up in the morning, we do calisthenics, we do walking. The chairman does a great political overview right next door, right over here at the little outdoor event center. And all of this, again, is get fit for the revolution. When two types of PE. One PE is physical education, and the other types is political education. And all of it is to get fit for everything you've heard being talked about today. And Chairman made another call today for people to come next week. And again, it goes way beyond next week. We want people to come here and do the work that needs to be done. And it's a lot of work. And it's the ground game that needs to be deepened. We need to do more of what President Maku talked about. We're doing outreach. We're going into the communities. We're talking to people. We're selling spears. We're getting contacts. But we have to do that relentlessly. It has to be part of every time we go out. We have to be mindful of being a political organizer. That's what has to happen every single day. And not just for this last week, not just for this week, not just for next weekend, but it has to be all the time. And all of it is to build for African self-determination. All of it is to win African people to an anti-parasitic activity. And that's the reason why I'm here. And, you know, I don't know about a report. I'm speaking of my experience. And I'm going to end on, it was, I think, May 1965. I was a young man. And I was reminded by something the chairman said, but I was 10 years old at the time. And, you know, as a 10-year-old mind, you come up with all kinds of thoughts. And I know that I grew up in an old-fashioned way where I got disciplined for everything at home. And my mother would discipline me. My older brother would see me being disciplined, and he thought it was his responsibility to discipline me. And at 10 years old, I made up my mind I'm running away from home. So I packed up my 6-year-old little brother, packed us some lunch, and we took off. And everything was cool till it started getting dark. And I didn't have any plan beyond that. So we backtracked, went back to the house. After a minute, we kind of hung at the house by the front door looking and see what was there. And some men had left the house. They were, I guess, policemen, I guess. So anyway, we knocked on the door, and I still got disciplined at the end of the day. And I'm saying that to say that I left here in St. Louis a couple years ago. And I have to say that it wasn't in the best of circumstances. It was my decision. And I know that I feel really good here in St. Louis. I know not just politically, but it's a certain feel here with St. Louis, with the people, with the posts. And I feel as though it is correct to be here. It is the epicenter of the African Revolution. And even though I ran away, I want to run back home. I want to come back home, and I will come back home to do this work. And it's been really a reintroduction to the Uhuru way of doing things. We have to be more organized. We have to deepen our political education, and we have to get out here and practice what we've been doing here the last week every single day. And I just wanted to say that because in something the chairman just said about the politics and going and doing. In 1973, I think Bobby Seale ran for mayor of Oakland, California. And it was right after that election that the white mayor, I think John Redding at the time, left office, and they put in this Negro named Lionel Wilson. And that was their neo-colonial solution. You know, because the thing the chairman talked about, that hit Oakland, California, and the Panthers, when they ran Bobby Seale for mayor, all of that came from what he was talking about with Malcolm X and everything else. And we have to connect the dots. You know, the same thing we see in Iraq, Iran, Venezuela is happening to African people right here in the Loop, in Oakland, in New York, and wherever we are. And again, and I'm gonna end it, this is the epicenter. This is where people need to be. Uhuru.
Touch one. Touch one. Uhuru. Man, since I came to the St. Louis front of the worldwide African liberation movement, I've witnessed the theory, I've witnessed and participated in the theory and practice of African internationalism. I've seen in real time the Black Power blueprint being implemented. I've seen how much the people are excited to witness the Black Power blueprint being implemented in their community. I've seen real solidarity, participated in real solidarity. I've seen real economic development. You know what I'm saying? I've seen so much that when I go back to the northern region, we got a lot of work to do. We're gonna get it done. I've seen comrades from Cali, shout out to Bakri. I've seen comrades from Detroit, shout out to Jasiri. I've seen comrades from Kansas City, shout out to Sam, come and participate in an economic institution where all of the resources went back to building up economic development for the African community. I've seen real solidarity led by the chairwoman Penny Hess and Chairman Jesse Neville. I've seen organized, I've seen real investment into the African community, into the future of the African liberation movement. I participated in outreach, and I've seen support from people that some people probably be scared of. But they provided security for the comrades and I. They said, if anything happens in this community, you holler at us. We'll protect you, because we know y'all represent the Uhuru movement. Y'all represent the interests of the African community. I've seen the community come play basketball at the courts built by the African People's Socialist Party under the leadership of D.C. Ona. I've seen brothers and sisters come in that basketball court, come to and say, I want to get involved. I want to be a leader. Put the knowledge in my hands so I can bring it to my people. And that's exactly what the party is doing. I'm just appreciative to be here. I've been able to strengthen my development as a comrade inside the Uhuru movement. Strengthen my ability to be effective at organizing the masses to participate in this African liberation movement. I've been able to appreciate the work of our president, Emmanuel Macron. You think what I'm saying? In terms of building InPDUM here on the ground in St. Louis. I've seen the Reparations Investment Company, just revitalize a program, a home, and just make it to where that, we could be able to give it back to the people. You know what I'm saying? Because the state is doing everything it can to push us out of communities like St. Louis. Same thing happening in St. Louis. I've seen the same thing happening in Brooklyn. I've seen the same thing happen here. But the difference is we have the presence of the African People's Socialist Party. We have the presence of the Black Power blueprint. I've seen initiatives for us to control our food here in St. Louis, led by the African People's Socialist Party. Because if we don't control our food, there's somebody controlling us. And the party understands that. And that's why the party got the Shambhala Farm. I've seen how many people are excited for the Uhuru Bakery to open. They can't wait. I've seen so many people just fight for them Uhuru pies. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no more Uhuru pies. You know what I'm saying? I've seen people at the African Arts Festival, when we told them that all of the money that we make at this booth is going right back into the Black community. That's real socialism. That's real community control. That's real economic development. I've seen the creation of a new world. I see the creation of an independent and liberated Africa and African people. I've participated in studies. I've seen Fred Hampton's Jr.'s mother, the first president of InPDUM. I've seen videos of her, talking about the work that the Uhuru movement is doing in Chicago. So we stand here today knowing that the African People's Socialist Party has a long history of continuing the spirit of resistance. We never wanted to integrate into this burning house. And under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, he showed us how we could build our own house, how we could build our own nation, how we could solve our own problems. Because we know that the Democratic Party is not going to do it. We know that the Republican Party is not going to do it. We know that the Democratic Socialists of America is not going to do it. But you know who's going to do it? The African People's Socialist Party is going to do it.
That's right.
So being here in St. Louis has encouraged me, has motivated me, has inspired me to be a better revolutionary, to be a better leader, to be more effective at the job that's ahead of us. Because we got a lot of work to do, and we need to reach the masses. I've seen that the people want this work, and we got to bring it to them so that they can participate in it. I've seen volunteers and members of the Uhuru movement, Comrade James, Comrade Greg. I've seen their enthusiasm to participate in liberating of our people. It's just an honor to be here. It's an honor to be amongst all of the people in the room. It's an honor to learn from the experience and lessons that the Uhuru movement has gained throughout all of its years of struggle and success. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to take the lessons that I have gained here back to the northern region, to strengthen the institutions that we have in the northern region, built by the African People's Socialist Party, to strengthen the cadre and comrades in the northern region, and to be a more effective leader in the African People's Socialist Party, so that we will see freedom in our lifetime, so that we will implement the Black Power blueprint, and so that we will create a better future for our children and people. Uhuru.
Touch one. Touch all. Touch one. Touch all. Touch one. Uhuru. Uhuru. All right. Thank you so much, comrades. We can open up for maybe like 5 minutes. I know there are some more forces who were participating. And yeah, the mic's open. This is a report back from, as the intensive is going on. I see Chair Jesse. Uhuru.
Uhuru. President Manuel, Comrade Mkululeku and Bakrid's really powerful summations of the intensive, and salute to the chairman for your leadership and for calling for this intensive and making this happen. And I'm really honored to be able to participate in the intensive from the African People's Solidarity Committee and Uhuru Solidarity Movement, organizing in the white community for reparations to African people and white solidarity with Black Power under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. And I also want to recognize Chairwoman Penny Hess, the chair of the African People's Solidarity. And Chairwoman Penny and myself and other comrades at different times have had the honor to participate in this intensive so far. And it's been incredible. I just want to unite with everything that's been stated. It's been absolutely transformational, and looking at the studies have been amazing, including the ones the chairman provides before the physical education in the morning, but also looking at the footage from the Congress, the Fourth Party Congress in 1997, the InPDUM conventions, Secretary General Louise Kinshasa on the African nation. It's been, just incredible political education and training. The African Arts Festival was such a huge victory. And I wanted to just say that yesterday, the intensive participants came out and were a part of the volunteer workday at the Reparations Investment Company's first development project, which, as was mentioned, Reparations Investment Company is a project of the Black Power Blueprint, created and led by the Office of Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela, and assigned to the Uhuru Solidarity Movement to coordinate, which is also an incredible honor. And it's about supporting and uniting with the African community, taking back the land, the housing, the property, the real estate in North St. Louis that's been left to rot and has been stolen by the city government and by colonialism and by white people for generations now. So, the chairman called it reverse gentrification, and is acquiring these properties way faster than anything the city is doing, in terms of repairs on the north side, which is nothing, and renovating those properties to be returned to productive use in the community, either for sale or for to provide stable rental housing. And the first project is slated to be completed by the 4th of July. So that date, while the celebrations, so-called celebrations, will be going on of the settler colonial, so-called Independence Day, this new world under construction will also be celebrating this property. And yeah, I just want to salute everybody that came out. It was our biggest volunteer work day yet.
Right on, right on.
We got a lot done. It was amazing. There were teams working. There were 4 main teams, and they were practically in every room of the house and outside in the front and back. I want to salute Camille, who I don't think is here today, but she's our volunteer coordinator. She's done an amazing job. Brendan, who's the chair of the projects committee, and especially want to salute President Emmanuel, who was there and helped give a great overview there, at the workday. The other comrades from the intensive, from the party in InPDUM, the African National Women's Organization,
Right on.
Including comrades Nova, Torin, and
Uhuru!
They were there and they were working.
Yeah.
You see the pictures. Torin was up there on a ladder with the drill. Nova was out on the yard team with Chairwoman Penny and others, and Omari was peeling paint off of yeah, everybody was doing something. It was an amazing day, and it involved priming the paint on some of the walls, yard maintenance and waste removal. Help me out, Amanda. What am I forgetting?
Scraping off the ceiling.
There we go.
There you
Yes,
go.
I want to salute Amanda too. He led that team with scraping the ceiling. That was a lot of jumping on ladders as well. And then dealing with patching of the walls and HVAC and stuff like that. So it was a very productive day. Thank you so much to everybody that came out, and we will be continuing volunteer days almost every week from now until July 4th. So we'll be letting people know about upcoming opportunities to continue being a part of this project, and as you said, the creation of this new world that is happening. So
Yes.
Uhuru.
Touch one. Touch one. Touch one.
Good job.
Uhuru. Yeah, that was real powerful because this is happening right in the middle of the community. And so not only do they see, the Black Power blueprint, happening all across the West Florissant corridor. And I don't like saying the West Florissant corridor because people have been saying it, the Uhuru district. And they see the Black Power blueprint all up and down this corridor, and they also get to see it right across, the street from them or in their community and things like that happening right there. And that's real powerful. Uhuru. Anyone else? Enough? Okay, so we'll move forward with the announcements. Today's announcements will be brought on to us by Comrade Rage. Okay, right on. African women. African women. Uhuru.
Yes, so you've heard, we're doing the work. We got a lot going on. And as soon as we get that slideshow up, I will tell you all about it. Yes, so first and foremost, we have been live streaming this entire rally on our YouTube channel, The Burning Spirit TV. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Whenever you can't make it to the Uhuru House, you can always find us there. Next slide. All right, y'all. So as you heard, we have been in the midst of the African People's Socialist Party intensive. If you want to join in on the late end, you can go ahead and go to tinyurl.com APSP Intensive 26 and fill out that application and get involved because we're still doing the intensive all the way up until Friday. So you can catch us over there in the garden, do some workouts with the chairman. And then we always have some study and some work to do after that. So this is still time to get involved. All right, y'all. So as you've heard multiple times today, the Black is Back Coalition's 10th annual electoral campaign school is happening this weekend, Saturday, June 6th to Sunday, June 7th, right here in the house that Black built. And we are trying to take up all political space. So this is how we learn how to do that. We can participate in this school, and then we can bring a Black power platform to the world through this school. So let's do that. We're gonna be here June 6th through the 7th, right here at Akwaaba Hall. I'm looking for the time. I don't see it on the 10 a.m. until
about 6.
till 6. Register today at tinyurl.com, BIB School 26. All right, y'all. InPDUM is gonna be joining AMWO in collaboration with the first One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market of the season. Comrade Gregory's been 10 toes down to the pavement, bringing in vendors and other participants in the market. We've been passing out flyers all through the community at the African Arts Festival. We're expecting a really well-attended market, especially since the campaign school is going on at the same time. So participants will also be able to enjoy the market. You'll get to hear culture from Comrade Makeda, enjoy a workout from Gutted Fitness, and experience some food and crafts from the vendors. So make sure y'all come to the very first One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market of the season on June 6th. It's gonna be right down the street, 4007 West Florissant, basically the corner of Warney and West Florissant. So that's where we're gonna be at. Next slide. AMWO is having our very first work day, and we want to invite everybody to get involved. It's going to be on Juneteenth. The African National Women's Organization was donated a building by the Black Power Blueprint, and we are in the process of rehabbing that building into our AMWO Liberation Center. So June 19th will be our very, very first work day. So come on down to 4617 Natural Bridge from 9:30 to 3:30. We'll be taking a sledgehammer to some walls, taking down some ceiling. We'll be doing a lot, and y'all can participate in that, and we would love it if you would. You can sign up by going to amwoahuru.org. Is there anybody available on June 19th to participate in AMWO's workday? One behind me? Okay, comrade. All right. Okay, we got a couple hands. So listen, man, this is part of taking liberated territory in St. Louis through the Uhuru movement. This is another part of that strategy. So we all want to make sure that we tapping our networks and bringing people in who can also do that kind of work with AMWO as well. Uhuru. So hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, all out to Atlanta. We're going to be returning to court for the precedent-setting appeal of the Uhuru 3 case on Wednesday, July 22nd at the Albert P. Tuttle U.S. Court of Appeals building. We'll be there at 9 a.m. and we're gonna have more details coming soon. Do you want to say anything about that?
Uhuru. Yeah, we have Comrade James who has a clipboard with him, so that we can get signups and commitments for those who would like to attend, be there in person for the historical oral arguments, and we want to put together transportation. So we need to know how many people are interested in going, so that we know how to deal with, the logistics and stuff like that. Do we have any commitments today for folk who are interested in being there in Atlanta? You can raise your hand. Raise your hand. All right. Yep. You can.
Uhuru, just salute this really powerful meeting today. I want to salute the chairman, Omali Yeshitela, and all of this has been a powerful event. And I just wanted to say about the court hearing for the appeal and the oral arguments. We do have, and this is just getting consolidated, and we will be putting this out within this next week. So we do have a venue for an event in Atlanta on the day before, the night before. So it will include that, and then we will have the hearing, and then there will be a session at Georgia State Law School, which is near the courthouse. That will be like a moot court and will involve law students. And then there would be like a group lunch or a group meal together. So we're just getting all that consolidated right now, but it's going to be very powerful.
Like the nail there. Ciali's not here. Next slide. Uhuru, y'all. So we have a farmer's market and now we have a farm. Yeah, Uhuru. The Shambhala Uhuru Freedom Farm. We got volunteer work days, first and third Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 12. It's just over on 3905 West Florissant at Linton, just right down the street. If you are interested in learning about growing your own food, and we all need to be interested in learning about growing our own food, that is another way that we take power into our own hands. You can come. You don't need no experience. We will train you. So you can give a call to 314-380-8016 to sign up for a volunteer shift or go to volunteer@blackpowerblueprint.org. We don't wait for change. We grow it. All right. Uhuru. The grand opening of the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe. Yay! From Marcus Garvey to the Black Power Blueprint. Saturday, August 15th, 2026, 1 to 5, 3719 West Florissant. Again, just right down the street. You can join the team building the grand opening, help us plan that event, promote the grand opening, and help organize the program, media, and the sponsors. We're having team meetings first and third Tuesdays. Next meeting is June 5th. That's just this coming Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. at the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe, 3719 West Florissant Avenue. Is there anybody who would like to join the planning team? Can we get a show of hands of anyone who's available? Something to think about, folks. We got who? Who did I miss? All right, Ruby, we got you. Uhuru. So again, y'all, get involved in what's happening in the community just right down the street, probably from your neighbor or yourself. The Uhuru Bakery and Cafe, we're looking for volunteers. And Thursdays, we have InPDUM's Revolutionary National Democratic Program Studies at 7 o'clock every Thursday, led by our international president, Luca Day, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. This is a really good study that you can attend when you are just getting your foot into the political waters and you're trying to learn and understand. Come to this study to get your foundation. Next slide. And of course, you gotta go to burningspear.store and get your Burning Spear. This is the longest running newspaper, Black Power newspaper in the world, and we distribute this newspaper throughout the world. If we have our own media, we always know what's happening in our community. We have a source that we can actually trust. We have people from our community that are reporting the news. So this is why we got to continue to support and push out the Burning Spear newspaper. You yourself can write for this newspaper as well. And you can use it as an economic tool for yourself. You could sell the newspaper, make a little bit of money while getting the truth out to the people. So go over, get subscribed today, burningspear.com to subscribe and to get your bundle to sell out to the community, the burningspear.store. Next slide. All right, y'all, before we go into Caramoo, I'm going to call 4 Feet back up to tell us what we got on the resources.
Okay, comrades, I have to do that so you can see who I am. We had $150 as our goal. We are $14 in the rears. So, can I get a 5? That's 1 down. Can we get another 5? That's 2 down. 4. Okay, we got 4 5. So we made our goal. And over. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know what? When you came in and you got those pamphlets and things, that's the resources that we're putting together with the resources that's where the resources go. Plus we're on Zoom. Plus we got electricity. Plus we're trying to make this word known so we can bring people in. Because if you don't know, you don't know, but we're going to make sure that they do know. Like I said, we're taking everything but excuses. And if you can give us 1 hour of your time, I'm talking to you guys out in Zoom land, 1 hour, just 1 hour a week, go to InPDUM.org/join and we'll make it happen for you. That'll be the best hour you'll have of your life. All right. Uhuru! Oh, Caramoo. All right. What we have today is fried chicken wings. We've got vegan spaghetti. We've got fruit. We've got watermelon. We got a tasty salad. And we got water and juice. Okay? But we won't be here next week, so we won't do Caramoo then. But you will be getting an email from Comrade Sophia, who joined us today. Uhuru! She'll be sending out emails for requests for the Sunday rally, not next week, but the week after, okay? Uhuru!
Same time. Oh.